You gotta forgive my voice, and you gotta forgive me if I start coughing. As much as I love being back home in Texas with our nice weather during the winter, the allergy season is really just taking a toll on me and my voice. So sometimes that's kind of lucky for the players, because there's some points where you just know you just can't yell it out anymore, and you just kind of, all right, we'll just handle it a little bit later. But again, welcome everyone. This season is unique to me in a lot of different ways. One, I fully feel like we are relatively healthy. I'm excited about the kids that we're able to kind of bring along, specifically our junior and senior class. We have 7 juniors and 1 senior. We suddenly went from overnight being a very young team to more of a veteran team. I think that's exciting. The other piece to me that's exciting is we get to be able to play here at home in the state of Texas, which I think is really important for the majority of our young women. And a few of our kids are from outlying states. Of course, Erin Peoples, who's from Arkansas as well. So there's a lot of opportunity for people to see them play. The other piece that I like about it, honestly, is just the rejuvenation of these young people. This team is unique in a lot of different ways. The one thing I can tell you is there is a genuine feel amongst them, and you feel it as a coach as well, that they have a chemistry and a unique bond that's very different from all the teams since I've been here. So as I look forward into conference play right now, we're just preparing for SMU. I think they'll be a tough team from the standpoint, from a scouting point. They have a brand new head coach. I think that's going to be a little bit different. I can take a look at their rosters and talk about personnel. Don't necessarily know what they're going to run scheme-wise, but I think these first couple of games, it's really about our identity and who we are, and really a transformation of where we were in the past, where we have to get better, and continue in the areas that we're pretty successful in.
Coach, if you would, saw kind of a change in the style of play for the Bobcats last season compared to when Jeff Code and Mays, you had that size down low. What do you expect the style of play will be like here in 16-17?
I think the thing you're going to find for us is that, yes, we're a little bit smaller, okay? But if you really take a look across the board at our conference opponents, you look at the top 3 teams, no one has any real size outside of Rebecca, preseason, MVP. So for me, it's kind of a wash. From a recruiting standpoint, I made the decision specifically to go after kids who are a little bit more leaner, athletic, who can rebound, be explosive, hence the sign of Zandra Emanuel, #1 rebounder in the country in junior college. But she's not a tall kid whatsoever. She's probably coming in about, at best, 5'11", maybe 6 foot. But what it does allow is for us to defensively get after a little bit more. You saw us press quite a bit in the second half of last year. I think you can look forward to us pressing again from the beginning. We're not going to be a pressure all-out denied team. That's just not who I am. But I do think the kids have a lot of fun with our pressing action. The other piece is we're going to be able to get up and down. We have some athletic players who can really guard at multiple positions, but they can get up and down the floor as well. And so I think you're going to see really a continuance of that style of play, with athleticism and up tempo on both ends of the floor.
Coach, you had Ariel Anderson point guard in the past 4 years. You're working with a new point guard this season. Who starts that position for you, and what kind of learning curve do you expect it to be?
I think the learning curve is quite large, Brent. That's the one position there's still a bit of a question mark. We have 4 young women that we're rolling through that position right now. Today is going to be practice 17, which puts us over the halfway mark. We get 30 practices in the first 40 days before the first game, and so for me that's honestly still pretty open. I'm rolling all 4 of them and trying to figure out, and that's really between McKinley Bonstadt, return of Tasha Levitt, a sign of Bailey Hawley, and Taylor Deere. And right now it's a little bit by committee until we get a feel for who's best fitted for that position and then who can fill in that role.
Do you expect your lineups to change fairly often in these first few conference or non-conference games?
I would assume so. I think we're probably going to find about maybe 3 or 4 mainstays. But again, with the question mark right now at the point position, I would say that'd be the one position that, let's see, how it turns out when they actually get out and play real competition.
Coach, you mentioned Taylor Deere a moment ago. We've seen games where she's been spectacular. I think she had 32 against North Texas this past season, but has been kind of up and down. What are you looking for from her this season?
Very good point, Billy. What I'm looking for from Taylor is consistency. I think it's telltale that she wasn't able to make an all-conference team, largely because there are going to be some coaches going to say, whoa, that child just whooped our butt, and then there'll be another coach who's going to say she was pretty non-existent. I think Taylor clearly understands that. She's come in with a renewed sense of what her responsibilities are, and she's committed more to defense. We're continually working with her in that area. I think once she commits completely to the specific game plan of us being a better defensive team, she'll see more success. And we've seen it some in practice. She's getting after the ball. She's doing a better job with her on-ball defense. She's playing in some passing lanes, getting some steals. And so I'm looking forward to seeing some consistency from her.
Coach, you mentioned last time we talked, you talked about
Mm-hmm.
As a realistic goal, have you seen it in practice from them?
Oh yes, in many different ways. So on the court in practice for sure. One of the things that they do, and this largely comes right now from Caitlin Wallace, she's really stepped up, and she just did yesterday, Coach, can we huddle? She'll actually huddle them before I even need to stop play. So she's a coach's kid. She has an understanding of what's going on. They huddle, they meet, they come back, no issues. So really, it's very short correction. I always say great timeout response. That's really what I call it, timeout response. And I see great timeout response because when you correct a kid, does she go back in and make the same error, or does she change her behavior? Or does she go in and put in that information for that, whatever that small group is, and you see an immediate change, or do you not? And so one of the things I like to tell them is that's a great timeout response. You clearly understood, or you saw it before we did and we corrected it. So that's one area for sure, Ish. The other place that I'm really enjoying watching them grow is really more off the court. When you start talking about championship culture, is not just young people who really care about each other, but we've done so much community service that they've loved and enjoyed. We're a mainstay at the Southside Community Center. We go down there and we serve the homeless. We're actually going to cook for the homeless next week. The entire team, we're going to cook and serve. Most of the time we just go there to serve and help clean. The other piece is they spent some time recently here with the elderly, and they've been, they went to a dance. There's just so many things that they're doing that they truly enjoy. It isn't force-fed. There's no I got this commitment. It's a true enjoyment of being around each other. And then you end up seeing it on the court as well with some accountability. So now when you're able to question what they're doing or why are we doing it, they can either answer, okay, or they'll say, you know what, Coach, I can do a better job. Or a teammate could say something to her and it doesn't turn into just some dramatic, obnoxious response. At times it might be a little bit, but for the most part, I think our kids do a good job. Okay, I get you. I got it. And then great timeout response. So that to me is championship culture. That is meaning they're following our core values, and one of them for sure is accountability and communication. They clearly understand that I got to do a better job. This is why, and this is the greater good for this team. It's been fun. It's been a lot of fun to coach them.
How do you feel about the makeup of your staff, your coaching staff?
I like that we have Coach Dorsey back. Coach Dorsey's been with me all but 1 year. And, Coach Dorsey left a team who was an NCAA tournament team. The nice thing about having Coach Dorsey back as associate head coach is that she's a point guard who played in the SEC. She's got a fire about her. She's very disciplined. I think that helps us quite a bit, and our kids respect that. I have Coach Lees from West Texas. I like her in the recruiting coordinator position, largely because she's a JUCO coach and she's a Texas person. I added the addition of Rodney Hill, who was at Texas A&M with Coach Blair. He went out and coached Division II, came back, he was with Reagan at TCU. He knows the Dallas area really well. He also has a hunger. He worked a little bit in the WNBA. So I think he brings a youthfulness and a knowledge from a recruiting standpoint that helps us out quite a bit. And of course, my director of basketball operations is Abigail Whitling. And Abby's done a great job of helping care for our staff and care for our student athletes for sure. So I'm excited about that. It's worked really well for us. It's been a lot of fun in the office. Being able to bring some fresh ideas to the table is something I always ask my staff, and we have a lot of that, so it's been fun.
At Media Day 12 months ago, we were all talking about, I wonder who will finish second behind Arkansas State. I know Troy's picked to win the Sun Belt this year, but I don't sense that air of dominance. How do you see the Sun Belt playing out this year? It's
a very good question. If you take a look at where Troy was entering the tournament when we weren't too far apart in record. So that is interesting. And what I really pose to my upperclassmen, I meet with them every week. Really, I meet with all of them every week. We posed a question here more recently. If you take a look at how dominant Arkansas State was at 19-1, if you take a look at where they were defensively, because we've talked a lot about defense getting better, they rarely broke top 5. But they did a phenomenal job offensively as well. So that's a team as well that you can kind of look to. They've lost quite a bit, but they have an understanding that if we're able to just kind of stay even Steven in some places and continue to press forward where we're really good, we're going to be okay. UT Arlington was my team last year that I picked at the top, and so I think they're deservingly so being there. I think Little Rock is still going to be really good as well. And it's not to discredit Troy and Coach Rigby and what she does there. They generally seem to have some hot moments, and then they have a little bit of a lull, and they kind of pick it back up again. I think it's going to be really interesting what's going to happen once we start non-conference play. Then we'll have a good idea as we watch them play other teams, kind of where all of us are going to fall.
Coach, you talked about recruiting. How important is it that you have all Texas non-conference teams?
Oh, it's wonderful. To be honest with you, I'm actually excited to see kind of what that non-conference Texas record is going to be. A lot of times what happens is you have prospects that come to the games, but then you have family also who come to the games, so I think that makes it fun. And our name is going to be in local newspapers. It's going to be online as well. There's going to be some tweets. I think we're going to have opportunities maybe to have the Texas State brand out there in social media amongst women's basketball in the state of Texas. If we can work hard and do the things I think we can do, that takes me back to when I was, in high school when we had the old Southwestern Conference, and you just heard about all the schools. You had Stephen F. Austin, you had Texas Tech, you had Texas, you had Lamar was really good back then. You just had a lot of women's programs across the board that were doing really well, and now with the addition of social media, I think that helps. Just within our region, it helps a ton. It's a very good question.
When you visited with us on Saturday night during the football broadcast, we talked a little bit about the renovations to Strand Coliseum. How much is that a game changer for your program in terms of recruiting and other things?
I think it helps us out tremendously, specifically with this generation of millennials. I think they like to see the product in front of them versus the unknown. And so being able to have some blueprints out there to actually show them. Obviously, we're breaking ground right now, so when they show up, I think that's important as well. And them understanding that when you come here, you're going to be taken care of, and we clearly understand what that means. And it isn't just the renovation itself; it's just what we're going to be able to provide for our student athletes and their standard of living.
Are you going to miss the wall?
I'm not going to miss the wall. I can honestly say, it went from the wall. I was here when the transformation came, when they put up the padding. And I always question, no offense to our facilities folks, why it went so high, because even the most athletic men's basketball player couldn't reach that level. But I've told a lot of people I'm excited to tell Coach Blair about the wall, because he likes to go on and on about him and Coach Sharp back in the day when he was at Stephen F. Austin. He's now at A&M. He'd always talk about him and Marsha Sharp, and he's always asking me, Zenarae, is that wall still there? I'm like, yeah, Coach, the wall's still there. So I'm going to tell him all about the wall next time I see him.
What's the dynamic like when you have a team that only has one senior on the roster? Have you ever been in that situation before? And then what's your outlook for getting Erin Peoples back in the lineup eventually?
That's a very good question. So I've been in a dynamic where we've only had one or two seniors, but I've never been in a dynamic like this where we've had 7 juniors and a senior. What I like is we don't have a team captain. There isn't a chosen leader. We have young women that are really good in different areas. So you have Caitlin Wall and Erin Peoples obviously being with their preseason accolades, very good on-court leaders, very good at understanding the vision, very good at understanding and knowing how far we've come here at Texas State in growth and development, both on and off the court. I like that they bring that piece for us. But then we have some others on the team who bring leadership in different ways, whether it be just making sure we're on time, making sure we're wearing what we need to, making sure that we're thankful and we're grateful. It's really neat to kind of watch how they each have taken ownership of an area of the program and really, kind of hold each other accountable, and they work collectively together. I'm as excited as I am. Every now and then in my quiet moments, I'm like, oh, geez, it's going to be tough 2 years from now. Just have a bunch of freshmen just dribbling balls off their feet. But in the moment right now, I'm just going to celebrate it, and I'm really excited for them. I think, they deserve all the hard work that they're putting in, and we're going to work really hard to help this team win a championship. Regarding Erin Peoples, Erin is a very special young woman. I've known her since before I even got here. I know Erin's going to bounce back. She'll be back hopefully mid-December for us. So for me right now, it's just a matter of keeping Erin in the game, making sure she understands what's going on. But Erin's been doing a rehab on the side at every practice. When she was back in practice, she was just getting herself back in shape. I have very few worries outside of the fact that the pressure she's going to put on herself, to be able to come in and perform immediately. She needs to understand it's probably going to take a little bit of time before she gets herself game ready. But like I told her, she could have 20 to 30 games potentially when she gets back to prepare herself for after, her collegiate career here at Texas State.
What's been the challenge with that, having to kind of get scheme-wise of the game plan for a certain team, and then after Erin Peoples comes back, you finally have that player you can throw the ball to get a basket or get a lead. Has that been a challenge to this is the team's going to look now versus later?
Well, the lucky thing for us, honestly, is this happened midway of practices, so we aren't necessarily in scheme mode. We're still working and getting better defensively as a team, working on individual attributes, and with the insurgence of new players, I think what people are going to find is the team looks very different. So they call themselves the original 4, okay, the OGs, and that's Erica May, Taylor Deere, Tierra Pitts, and Whitney Apari. They were the 4 kids that were in that class. Now that class has turned into 7 because you had a kid in Amber Jones, who you've never seen, who tore ACL really early. That's a post kid, a JUCO kid who's done phenomenally well for us. Then you have Zandra, the young kid that we signed from JUCO, who's #1 rebounder in the country, right? Then you had a McKinley Bonstadt. Very few people have really seen her unless you watch her play when she's a freshman in the SEC, and she did great there. You add her to that mix, right? And then Caitlin Walla. She's like old reliable. Caitlin Walla also is in that class. So when you add those 4 kids and you add the addition of those 3, it's tough not having Erin, but there's quite a few pieces that can be picked up. Scheme-wise, there's some things I'm not going to be able to do because we don't have Erin, but that's my job as a coach, right? Try to figure out how we're going to find ways to score, and Erin brings a lot defensively as well for us to be able to defend because Erin's a multi-purpose player. She's a kid who can really play 2, 3, 4, 5 if we need her to.
The 2 freshmen on the team, the Holly twins,
Uh-huh.
what do they bring to the team and how much playing time could you possibly see from them?
Still early to talk about playing time, but the number one thing that anybody's going to tell you on this team, they're probably right at the top of the leaderboard regarding work ethic, okay, and commitment to the game. They're the kids, if you're talking to them, they're looking right at you the whole time. They're nodding their head, and they're not just nodding their head because they're just like, that's what coach wants. They're nodding their head because they clearly understand. They'll go back and they'll apply it right away. They're the kid that you can get on, and they're not even going to blink. They hear you clearly, they process it, and they go. So they're the type of kids that already have a championship culture really in their DNA. Some of us have to learn it, others already have it. Either way is okay, but it's nice as a freshman for them to come in and clearly understand that. They're putting in a lot of work. I really enjoy coaching them. I've been watching them for so long. They made a commitment to Texas State pretty early, and they have a lot of Texas State ties in their family. So they're completely sold. They're completely bought in. And for those of y'all that remember the twins that they had at McNeese, they're similar with that type of fieriness amongst them, but they're different players. One's more of a point guard, one's more of a 2-3, a little bit more dynamic that way. But I could tell you that all our kids really enjoy being around the twins. And it's fun coaching twins. Being a twin parent, it's also kind of fun watching and understanding what that means.
How nice is it to be able to go into a program like Westlake up in Austin and recruit there? Because we know Westlake year in, year out, very good.
The best thing about it is that they are already going to have a set structure and clearly understand. You don't necessarily always get that at some programs. That's one of the good things. The other good piece to me too is they're here at home. And so for their ability to be able to play at home and play where they've had family members graduate from Texas State, I think that's tremendous. And they'll talk a lot about that. They'll continuously talk about how happy they are to be here close to home. And kids that can play and wear that with pride, I mean, there's nothing to be more celebrated than young folks like that who really want to celebrate who they are, that they're from Westlake, but they have family that's played here, and they're proud Bobcats.
Coach, last year was the first year the NCAA changed the women's game from 2 halves to 4 quarters. What was the adjustment like? Did you like it to moving forward?
Absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. Speed of the game is much better for us. That's the first piece. The other piece of it is too, as a coach, you can break it up into quarters. That's the piece that I enjoy as well. And I like that we could advance the ball, at 59.9. That changes the game. You got to scheme a lot more. It's just really been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it. I think our fans enjoy it. There are a couple of fans that still don't like it. They have the backcourt now as well. It's changed the game in a positive way, and that was the intent of the rules. So I look forward to going through another season, really with no rule changes at all.
Your thoughts, like Coach just mentioned, it'll be a while before you're out there with your team, but just talk about the preparations for this season, and as you look into your crystal ball, how you see the team performing this season.
Well, we've been working really hard during the off season and getting ready, and at first I was in the routine and going out and working on it, but now that I'm out, I see a lot of the good things that's going on with the team. And of course, being on the sideline isn't fun, but I look forward to getting back with the team and just seeing how great they're doing in practice. So it's just really cool just to look at and just see them doing all the great things they do.
Coach talked about the championship culture with this team. Do you sense something different with this team regarding the years past?
Oh yes, everybody has put on a lot more responsibility. Everybody keeps themselves accountable and each other more accountable these days. Even the freshmen, they keep me accountable if I'm not wearing the right thing, or if they see me slacking a little bit, they come to me and just tell me what I need to do, or they come to me and ask me questions if they don't know. So, everybody has the mindset of championship.
What's it like being the only senior on the
I mean, I really don't have any answer for that. I mean, my team's there. I mean, I don't really feel like just being like everybody keeps a standard like senior, but I feel like all of us play a role in everything. So, I mean, everybody helps me. So, but it is pretty cool being the only senior.
Erin, I asked Coach earlier about working with a new point guard this season, starting point guard. Ariel Anderson is your point guard your entire career. How much of an adjustment will it be for you once you take the floor, working with a new floor game?
Like I said, I was in the routine earlier, coming back from my injury, and like I have worked with them. So, I mean, it's not going to be very difficult. I mean, they're very like they have a high IQ. So I mean, it's fun just being out there with them and like teaching them, even telling them where I'm going to be on the floor, just getting back in the swing of things. Actually, I feel like they have to get used to me, not me getting used to them, just because they've been out there more this past year. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun just getting used to everybody and all the different point guards. Like Ariel was my main point guard, but now we have, like Coach Z said, 4 different people that can run that spot. So I think it's going to be fun just working with all of them.
As you look back, Erin, and again, we understand that you're not going to be out on the floor for a little while, but as you look back to the start of your career and even watching last season, how much has Sun Belt Conference women's basketball, in your opinion, improved over your time here?
It's improved. I mean, just look at our team. We're a totally different team. We don't have the size that we used to have. Like we're faster, we're more like athletic, and that's just with every team in the Sun Belt. So I mean, I think it's improved. I think like the pace of the game is going faster with all the new rules and everything that's going on. So I think it should be fun and like the game should be quicker. So it's gonna be something different, but I think it's gonna like help us all improve ourselves.
How difficult was it for you last season to not be out there?
It was the beginning. The initial was pretty difficult, but like my teammates and my coaches all helped me through that time. They let me understand that I'll be back next year, and they helped me get myself ready for the next year. Caitlin Waller helped me a lot because she's went through it. She kind of held my hand through the process of like just asked me if I needed anything. She was there. Like all my teammates were there through that time. And I mean, seeing us go through games, I wish I was out there. I wish I was playing. I wanted to do everything to help, but my role was to be a leader off the court. So that's what I did. I helped my teammates off the court, even on the court, tell them where they need to be, kept them responsible for what they need to do. So I mean, it was difficult, but I still had my roles on the team.